Before Astro Boy flew across screens and Hanna-Barbera ruled Saturday mornings, the 1960s launched a cartoon space race of its own. Forgotten rocket men, robotic sidekicks, and alien oddities once filled black-and-white TVs with cosmic charm and Cold War undertones. These 20 lost animated gems captured the space-age dreams of a generation and then vanished into the void. Number 20. Rod Rocket, 1963. Rod Rocket was not a household name, but for a brief flash, he was the cartoon space pilot every kid wanted to be. Created by William Caton and Saul Terrell, this serialized sci-fi adventure followed young Rod Rocket and his older mentor, Professor Argus, as they explored alien worlds aboard their ship, the Little Atom. Each 5-minute episode unfolded like a chapter in a retro pulp comic book packed with moon monsters, radiation mishaps, and Cold War-era techno talk. With crude limited animation and grainy visuals, it may seem primitive today, but it marked one of the earliest made-for-TV sci-fi cartoons in American animation history. Syndicated in local TV markets, the show had educational elements buried in its space escapades and emphasized teamwork and science. Yet despite its ambition, Rod Rocket faded quickly, overshadowed by slicker space cartoons just a few years later. Its fragments survive only in dusty archives and bootleg VHS tapes, reminding us that even the pioneers of space cartooning can be forgotten. Number 19. Space Cadets, 1966. A rare comedic space cartoon aimed at younger audiences, Space Cadets followed 4 plucky kids, Scooter, Snoopy, Jenny, and Countdown, as they zoomed around space in their makeshift clubhouse, ship-fighting space pirates and cracking wise. Produced by Hanna-Barbera, this short-lived series had a distinctly light-hearted tone compared to other space-age cartoons of the time. Set in a brightly colored asteroid base, the show blended slapstick humor with Buck Rogers-inspired gadgetry and goofy villains like Captain Skyhook. Though each episode ran only 6 minutes, it was packed with retro-futuristic charm, ray gun duels, and childlike optimism. It aired as part of a rotating cartoon block and was mostly forgotten when syndicated reruns cut it for time. The characters never broke through like Jetsons or Scooby-Doo, but their adventures embodied the freewheeling sci-fi innocence of mid-60s animation. Today, it survives mostly in fan memories and scattered YouTube clips, offering a glimpse into a spacier, sillier cartoon past. Number 18. Super President, 1967. Imagine if the Commander-in-Chief had superpowers and fought aliens on his lunch break. That was the bizarre premise behind Super President, a cartoon so strange it bordered on political parody. The titular character was James Norcross, a fictional U.S. president who could transform his molecular structure into steel granite or electricity to battle cosmic threats. Backed by a jet and a secret agent assistant, Super President faced radioactive beasts, alien invaders, and Cold War saboteurs. Produced by Depati Freylang, it aired during Saturday mornings and stirred controversy even back then. Critics called it inappropriate for glorifying authoritarian power, and children were baffled by its strange moral messaging. The animation was stiff, the plots outlandish, yet it tapped into the same nuclear anxiety and superpower fantasies that fueled the era's comics and serials. It was canceled quickly and has since become a cult curiosity, a relic of a time when even the Oval Office was not safe from Saturday morning spacemen. Number 17. Rocket Robin Hood, 1966. What if Robin Hood didn't steal from the rich in Sherwood Forest but in outer space, armed with laser arrows and cosmic horses? Rocket Robin Hood was a Canadian animated series that reimagined the legendary outlaw as a futuristic rebel on New Sherwood asteroid in the year 3000. Produced by Krantz Films and animated by the same team behind the 1960s Spider-Man series, the show featured Robin and his merry men battling the tyrannical Prince John and other sci-fi foes in kaleidoscopic space backgrounds. Each character was given a rocket-powered update. Little John wielded space clubs, Friar Tuck packed laser weapons, and Maid Marian knew her way around interstellar diplomacy. Despite its clunky animation and psychedelic voiceovers, Rocket Robin Hood developed a loyal cult following, especially in reruns during the 1970s. Its bizarre blend of Arthurian legend and planetary pulp made it one of the strangest hybrids of the cartoon space age, a show that felt both ancient and intergalactic at once. Number 16. The Amazing 3, 1965. Also known as W3, this black and white Japanese import was among the first anime series to reach Western audiences during the early wave of televised sci-fi. Created by Osamu Tezuka, the godfather of anime, The Amazing 3 followed three alien agents, Boko Noko and Puko, who arrived on Earth disguised as a rabbit, horse, and duck. Their mission was to observe humans and decide whether the planet should be destroyed or spared. What followed was a surprisingly emotional and morally complex cartoon for its time, as the trio grew fond of Earth and worked to prevent its annihilation. The show was dubbed and edited for U.S. audiences and aired briefly on syndication, but unlike Astro Boy, it never gained mainstream traction. Still, it introduced Western viewers to a new tone of animation, one that mixed action, comedy, and existential drama beneath its cute exterior. Today it remains a lost classic among early anime fans and space cartoon collectors. Number 15. Space Angel. 1962. Before space operas got slick, Space Angel brought galactic drama to life with nothing but voice acting, painted stills, and the infamous Synchro Vox technique. Produced by Cambria Studios and created by Dick Darley. Space Angel followed Scott McCloud, pilot of the spaceship Starduster, and his crew as they defended Earth's outposts from evil galactic forces. What set the show apart was its animation, or lack thereof. Characters were still drawings with only their moving lips superimposed using live-action footage. It was crude, surreal, and unintentionally haunting. Yet the show delivered serious Cold War-era space plots, often written by comic book veterans. The art direction was pulp-inspired and the tone surprisingly mature for a children's show. Space Angel may look bizarre to modern audiences, but it holds a special place in the evolution of limited animation. It's a reminder that even with minimal tools and a lot of nerve, creators could bring the universe to television screens in unforgettable and unforgettable ways. Number 14. Johnny Cipher in Dimension Zero. 1967. Before the multiverse became a sci-fi cliché, Johnny Cipher was already jumping across dimensions with atomic flair. This syndicated animated series followed scientist Johnny Cipher, who discovered a way to transport himself through space and time using a mysterious formula. Each episode sent him to new dimensions filled with alien creatures, villainous warlords, and strange galactic laws. Armed with scientific knowledge and his teleportation abilities, Johnny acted as an interdimensional peacekeeper assisted by Princess Zomar and the robot Ruto. The show was notable for its breakneck pace and wildly varied backdrops. One week, you were in a crystalline universe, the next, in a jungle ruled by mutant plants. Produced by 7 Arts Television, the animation was rudimentary, but the concepts were bold and wildly ambitious. Though largely forgotten today, Johnny Cipher in Dimension Zero was ahead of its time in depicting parallel worlds and intergalactic diplomacy. It lives on in bits and pieces among classic cartoon archives, a true cosmic footnote in TV animation. Number 13. The Herculoids. 1967. The Herculoids was one of Hanna-Barbera's most ambitious forays into the sci-fi fantasy realm. Set on the distant planet of Amzot, the show followed a family of humans, Xandor Tara and their son Dorno, who fought alien invaders with the help of their bizarre but loyal creatures. These included Zok, a laser-shooting flying dragon Egu, a rock ape Tundro, a rhino-like beast, and the shape-shifting blobs Gloop and Gleep. Unlike most cartoons of the era, the Herculoids played it straight with real stakes, laser battles, and planetary threats. The art style was bold, the action intense, and the creature designs instantly iconic. It stood out in a sea of silly space shows with its mythic tone and primal world-building. Though it only lasted a single season, it was resurrected in the 1980s and remains a cult favorite. The Herculoids proved you could blend prehistoric brute strength with sci-fi spectacle and still capture the imagination of young viewers across the galaxy. Show number 12. Milton the Monster. 1965. Milton the Monster was not a true space cartoon in the conventional sense, but it frequently dipped into mad science, alien encounters, and absurd sci-fi twists. Set in a haunted castle atop Horror Hill, the show followed Milton, a kind-hearted Frankenstein-like monster created by Professor Weirdo and Count Kook. Designed to be terrifying, Milton was accidentally infused with too much tincture of tenderness, turning him into a sweet lunkhead who just wanted to make friends. The cartoon regularly parodied horror and space-age tropes with offbeat humor and wild inventions, from time machines to space rays. Though the animation was simple, its ghoulish aesthetic and manic tone made it memorable. It aired alongside other short segments and faded after one season, but Milton became a symbol of 60s cartoon experimentation, equal parts sci-fi spoof and monster comedy. It occupies a weird little niche between space adventure and kooky horror, one that feels like it came from a rocket lab and a haunted house combined. Number 11. Roger Ramjet, 1965. Roger Ramjet was the space-age superhero America didn't know it needed, a square-jawed dimwit with nuclear-powered proton pills and a crew of Boy Scouts called the American Eagles. Created by Fred Crippen and voiced by Gary Owens, Roger was a parody of patriotic supermen who often caused more trouble than he solved. The show embraced fast-paced satire and political parody in a time when Cold War tensions filled TV screens. Despite its minimalist animation, the scripts were razor-sharp and filled with adult-level wordplay, disguised in kid-friendly setups. Roger fought villains like Noodles Romanoff and the Solenoid robots, with absurd solutions usually ending in disaster. Number 9. Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles, 1966. Hanna-Barbera's double-feature cartoon Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles mashed together science fiction and superhero slapstick in a way only the 60s could dream up. Frankenstein Jr. followed a boy genius named Buzz Conroy, who controlled a giant robot to battle monsters, aliens, and evil scientists. The show was bright, imaginative, and borrowed liberally from Japanese kaiju films and American pulp comics. Paired with it was the Impossibles, a rock band that doubled as a superhero trio with elastic powers, force fields, and the ability to split into molecules. Together, the shows formed a colorful explosion of retro-futurism with swirling backgrounds, ray guns, and laser battles galore. While the Impossibles leaned heavily into absurdist comedy, Frankenstein Jr. tried to evoke heroic optimism in a world of science gone mad. The series ran for just one season but left a vivid impression on viewers who stumbled across its reruns. It was the Jetsons' louder, weirder cousin, and one that deserved a longer orbit. Number 8. Bolt the Super Squirrel Galactic Spaceman, 1964. Perhaps the strangest of them all, Bolt the Super Squirrel Galactic Spaceman was a syndicated oddity that barely aired outside a few regional U.S. markets. Bolt was a rodent with a cape jetpack and voiced like a 1940s serial announcer. His job? To stop galactic crime across absurd planets shaped like vegetables, desserts, and household appliances. The animation was crude even by 60s standards. Characters rarely moved and space battles looked like cutout puppets flying across airbrushed backdrops. But the writing was pure satire. Bolt often broke the fourth wall, lamenting his low budget and even arguing with his own narrator. It was part of a wave of cartoon experiments aimed at cashing in on the space race while mocking it from the inside. Almost no full episodes survive, but fragments are archived by animation historians and vintage TV collectors. Bolt wasn't just forgotten, he may have never fully existed in the first place. A true ghost of the cartoon galaxy. Number 7. Galactic Guardians, 1965. Before that name was used by DC Comics in the 1980s, there was an earlier forgotten series known regionally as Galactic Guardians. This ultra-obscure cartoon aired in syndicated TV blocks during the mid-60s and followed a team of interplanetary law enforcers tasked with patrolling Sector 9 of the known galaxy. Each member had a sci-fi gimmick. One controlled magnetic fields, another wielded anti-gravity boots, and their captain piloted a solar-powered star cruiser shaped like a golden eagle. The show used rotoscoped silhouettes for flight sequences, giving it a surreal, flickering visual style. Episodes tackled Cold War anxieties with allegories about space viruses, mind control devices, and surveillance satellites. Though only a handful of episodes were produced and even fewer archived, it left an impression on those who caught it in grainy late-night reruns. Galactic Guardians was ahead of its time with serialized storytelling and a surprisingly serious tone. Today it survives only through fragmented fanzines and whispered memories from cartoon historians. Number 6. Captain Cosmic, 1968. Captain Cosmic was a syndicated TV personality who later appeared in animated shorts that mixed live-action bumpers with space-themed cartoons. Operating out of a makeshift space station studio, the character hosted reruns of sci-fi serials, but between segments voiced his own stories through minimal Flash Gordon-style animations. Captain Cosmic battled galactic outlaws, cosmic pirates, and robotic uprisings, all while narrating in a deadpan heroic tone. These shorts often reused backgrounds and character models to save money, but were praised for their ambition and clever writing. Though most famous in local UHF markets around California and the Midwest, Captain Cosmic's animated segments were eventually edited into their own show, one that now exists only in private tape collections and scattered YouTube uploads. The legacy of Captain Cosmic lies in his ability to inspire imagination through limitations. He was less about spectacle and more about style, a DIY spaceman who brought the cosmos to earthbound kids after school. Number 4. Super Space Adventures, 1966. Super Space Adventures wasn't a single cartoon, but rather a syndicated anthology that bundled various obscure space-themed shorts under one rocket-fueled banner. The show included cut-down episodes of older serials, along with new segments featuring generic heroes like Captain Solar Jet Ace and Zygon of Venus. Each short was only a few minutes long and introduced wild alien planets, weaponized asteroids, and space mutiny plots. Voiceovers were bombastic and often mismatched with the action due to poor editing. But for kids watching in regional markets with little access to big network cartoons, Super Space Adventures delivered exactly what it promised: pure space spectacle. It ran on minimal budgets but embraced colorful pulp storytelling that mirrored the covers of vintage sci-fi magazines. By the 1970s, it disappeared from circulation entirely as networks demanded slicker animation and tighter narratives. Number 3. Astro Boy, 1963. While Astro Boy is widely known today among anime fans, it was once nearly forgotten in the West. A black-and-white oddity aired in the early morning hours with little fanfare. Created by Osamu Tezuka, this pioneering Japanese cartoon followed Atom, a robot boy with rocket-powered limbs, a supercomputer brain, and a deeply human heart. The show explored futuristic societies, ethical dilemmas about artificial intelligence, and the cost of scientific progress, decades before such ideas became mainstream in Western animation. When it debuted in the U.S., Astro Boy was dubbed and heavily edited for American censors who toned down darker themes and rearranged episodes. As a result, many American viewers saw only a fragmented version of its brilliance. Though it sparked a brief wave of imported anime, Astro Boy disappeared from syndication by the late 1960s. For years it remained a footnote in TV history until rediscovered by animation scholars and streaming platforms. Its legacy now looms large, but its original black-and-white version remains a ghostly whisper of where global sci-fi animation truly began. Number 2. The Amazing 3, 1965. Also known as W3, this black-and-white anime series told the strange tale of 3 alien observers sent to Earth, disguised as a duck, a horse, and a rabbit. Created by Osamu Tezuka, the series tackled themes far heavier than its cartoon animal characters suggested. The trio were tasked with evaluating whether Earth deserved to survive, and their encounters with humanity led to internal conflict, moral dilemmas, and moments of genuine heartbreak. Though it aired briefly in the U.S. during the 60s under a heavily sanitized dub, it was overshadowed by Astro Boy and quickly pulled from schedules. The Amazing 3 was too philosophical, too melancholy for networks hungry for slapstick space adventure. Few Americans even realized it was Japanese. Yet for those who saw it, its moody tone and powerful allegories about nuclear war and interstellar ethics left an indelible impression. The original Japanese version remains a haunting masterpiece, now celebrated by anime historians, but almost erased from the mainstream Western memory. In the void between moon landings and Saturday morning fame, these space cartoons flickered once, then vanished. They weren't just entertainment, they were transmissions from another era of dreams, fears, and possibilities. Dust off the reels, restore the signals, and subscribe for more lost worlds in animation history's forgotten constellations.